Well, it's been over a year, you know what that means. It's morphin' time. Via Twitter, Kyle asks, does The Last of Us deserve all the praise it gets? Does anime know what pacing is? Look, fan or foe, it's time we all joined hands in admittance of the fact that whether or not we all consider the medium to be artistic or not, describing The Last of Us, a video game that on its best possible day is a shitty episode of The Walking Dead, as the Citizen Kane of gaming, is like 99.5% of what is precluding the medium from being taken seriously as a means of artistic expression. Like, do people like Movie Blob who traffic in this precise variety of half-wit hype not recognize that when the uninitiated non-gamer outside of the industry hears this kind of frothing, untrammeled hyperbole, especially when it comes from mainstream media outlets, that they actually take these people at their word? Which is why when said Naughty Dog neophyte finally brandishes a controller and actually plays the protraction of mediocrity in question, sees that it's nothing more than a half-assed World War Z knockoff with some shitty block puzzles, invincible companion AI, and wonky hit detection, you're officially no longer a reliable source. From that point on, you're the boy who cried artistic merit. So fucking stop! Via Twitter, Harrison Stewart asks, why are you so damn sexy? It's the hormones they put in the milk. You see, a cabal of well-to-do petroleum magnates headquartered behind Glenn Beck's whiteboard are in league with the Trilateral Commission to put black helicopters in our water. Why do you think they canceled Jesse Ventura conspiracy theory? Via Failbook, Jason asks, what are you thoughts on Kanye West making a game about his mother? I think there are enough Cthulhu games. Via Failbook, Robert Martinelli asks, music mythos queen, yes or no? Well...
Fred, how do you feel playing and singing before 200,000 people?
I haven't done it yet.
So to answer your question, no. Via Failbook, Cole Bennett asks, what do you think about Street Fighter V so far? I'm actually impressed that Capcom somehow possesses the technology to further slow down a game engine that was already borderline inert. What's the fucking game plan here, Capcom? Is Street Fighter VI gonna take place in a fucking tar pit? If it takes me saying it out loud for that leering hack Yoshi Noriono to stop gimping the fuck out of his game engine long enough to finally take notice, then I am officially fucking saying something. Street Fighter 3 through 5 are too fucking slow! Watching this game footage makes me want to prescribe Thorazine to a sloth. I've said it before and I'll say it again, no matter what character, gameplay mechanic, or Cammy butt crack fan service is revealed between now and launch, the only way Street Fighter V has a clan member's chance in Harlem of being halfway decent is if we somehow manage to surgically remove Yoshi Noriono's parasitic tendrils from around the brainstem of this series. Next! Marcus asks, which Megadeth member lineup would you say was the best? Whichever one I don't have to listen to. Via Failbook, Andrew Roberts asks, with new titles simply not coming out for the PS3 and 360, are you going to jump over to the Xbone PS4 or a more powerful PC when you finally have to jump from Gen 7 to 8? I don't necessarily know that that's true. Look, for the record, I own a PS4, and before anyone pisses and whines, I bought it used. Sony didn't make a dime off my purchase, and I wouldn't have had it any other way, but it's right the fuck over there. There's your fucking controller. It's just sitting over there collecting dust and glowering at me, and therein lies the problem. Look, my anti-Sony bias aside, for those of you who've yet to upgrade, do yourself a favor. Don't. It's not even remotely worth it. It's now February of 2015, and I have an expansive PS4 library of one fucking game, which would be fine if the shitbrick had other features to keep you entertained while you're waiting for Sony to do a single fucking thing with this console. This shit doesn't network with other devices. You can't stream content from your computer or flash drive. It goes without saying that you can't rip your own music and play it in-game because Sony would rather sell that to you. But the moment you chuck a CD you own into the drive and are promptly treated to the glowing unsupported disc message, what is this? Fucking 1996? You know, on the hate 8-Bit Podcast, I opined that PS4 is a holding pattern. It's more of the same. But you know what? I lied. PS4 is the first console in 2 generations that, at least in terms of feature set, feels like a massive step backward. It's a PS2 with better graphics, and I frankly regret my purchase. Next.
Via Tumblr, Deadman asks, Dear RazörFist, how tall are you?
5'11". No short man syndrome here, folks. Just good old-fashioned ego.
Via Twitter, Evan Robertson asks, what genre of games would you like to see a major resurgence of?
In Dear Rageaholic's past, I opined that I would love to see the resurgence of the space sim genre, and the industry must have my place fucking bugged, because within months of recording it, Star Citizen, No Man's Sky, and a half dozen other space sims were all announced virtually at once. With sincere hopes that the NSA is enjoying this conversation as well, I would like to suggest that we are long the fuck overdue for the rebirth of the mech genre. Sure, Hawken and MechWarrior Online whetted our sandpaper palates, but it's time to do this for real, folks. Without giving too much away, my longest abiding pie-in-the-sky video game concept was to make an open-world intergalactic mech game, one that features a completely non-Euclidean sandbox universe with myriad systems and planets to explore, which supports both space combat and traditional mech sim combat of the MechWarrior titles with joystick support. You could enlist with a house or a clan, go mercenary, colonize planets in the name of your allegiance, or plant your flag and strip mine it for your own self. Think EVE Online and Silent Death Online in a full-blown orgy with Wing Commander and Mech Warrior. You could walk the bridge of your own capital ships, pilot a fighter, rock a mech, maybe even use one of those exosuits from Lone Wolf, Mech Assault 2, or explore the planet on foot with a blaster. Brand me batshit, but I think that with the Mech Warrior brand already sort of occupied, such a game might be the perfect vehicle for the rebirth of the long-dormant BattleTech license. Or you can make another Call of Duty. Next!
Via Failbook, Slick J. Mista asks, what are your opinions on Kojima directing the new Silent Hill game?
Over the course of this show, I have loosed splenetic salvos, look at the fuck up, at every contemporary trope in gaming, from rigid and inflexible game design to narratives so whitewashed for mass market appeal they ultimately appeal to no one at all. But one element of game design that hasn't spent nearly enough time in my crosshairs is developer ego, more specifically producer ego, the concept of the superstar game producer. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. When you encounter an in-game scenario that without prior knowledge of its existence would be outright incompletable, followed by an often fourth wall breaking solution, whether it's a radio frequency the player can only find on the back of the game box, or a puzzle that requires the player to give up in order to progress, you can practically feel the project lead just lean the fuck in, nudge you repeatedly in the ribs, and whisper the words, "Look how fucking clever I am!" Now pause. Take stock. If you harbor any pro-Kojima bias, pro-Metal Gear bias, momentarily, for me, just set it aside and honestly tell me, how many times over the course of the PT demo did you experience exactly that phenomenon? Silent Hill is supposed to be psychological horror. More specifically, it's about the psychology of the player. Not Team Silent, not Konami, not Hideo Kojima. If the player doesn't feel something resembling genuine dread without resorting to the very same kind of jump scares that Silent Hill fanboys bashed in Silent Hill Homecoming, yet inexplicably love in the PT demo, then you quite simply have failed to make a Silent Hill game. Kojima, not everything is about you, motherfucker. Games are about the player. Warren Spector is the precise variety of developmental demigod you aren't, because he was smart enough to recognize that in a game like Deus Ex, let alone Silent Hill, not he, but the player was the star of the game. In a career that serves as a monolith to mediocrity, Hideo Kojima has demonstrated irrefutably that he is physically incapable of thinking about anyone but himself. Next.
Via Failbook, Josh Rose asks, if you had a time machine, is a cliche, let's invert it. If you could avert one future inevitable catastrophe, governmental, geopolitical, meteorological, what would it be?
I'm going with global warming, not the environmental phenomenon, mind you. I'm talking about the theory itself. Not because I disbelieve, because frankly I'm indifferent on the subject, but because in one fell facelift, Al Gore turned environmentalists from placid, peace-loving hippies who love to swim in clean oceans and breathe unpolluted air there to shrill post-apocalyptic nutjobs who believe one errant chlorofluorocarbon will knock the fucking planet off its axis, who watch weapons-grade scaremongering like 2012 and The Day After Tomorrow, and without a trace of irony audibly opine to themselves, my God, that is a distinct possibility for this planet. Hear me out here, Tex, okay? You set? Alright. You're fucking crazy! The first step is admitting it. You're a Tumblr click away from attending a Shadow People pool party at Alex Jones's house. Fucking desist, because to normal people, the concept of the Earth spontaneously erupting into plumes of flame is considerably less frightening than the glassy-eyed zeal with which you purport that it's going to. I'm RazörFist. God fucking speed!
Did you like it?